Hello, salut. I am the Rasta Witch. Here's where we learn the way of the Yan Sui Rasta, which is to say, my kind of ital. Please subscribe and begin your own kind of Yan Sui witchcraft. All roads lead to Rome. Home. Hi, how you doing? Okay, so I thought I would, I guess, since my channel is about witchcraft and I'm a witch, might as well do the 12 days of Yule challenge thing, do at least one video. So I looked over the list. I thought, so which one? Because I just had an operation, and so I'm just I'm broke because I had to take time off for that, and it's like the most non-festive one for me. I call it winter solstice, um, and so that, but it's complicated, you know. I do a lot of things. Maybe if we're doing this next year, I'll do it next year and go more over my traditions of what I do for that. But there is one day that stands out, and that's connecting with the earth. And so that's something that's a real big deal to me, connecting to the earth. I'm a Taurus Gemini cusp, so as an earth signs, any witch and really any person, but especially an earth sign, it's important to connect to earth. That's like a big thing. So what I do is I really do need to do that. That's like I go on walks. Right now I live right in the inner city of where I live. And so it's like a more than half a day walk up to the mountain, just to get there in the first place. And then if you do a walk and then a half a day walk back, that's 3/4 of a day. It's just it's happened. I've done it. Um, and I'll probably will do it again if I keep living here much longer. But really what I do is I go on walks in the area. So I have different types, like what do I do? So you can see my necklace here. It's got a seashell on there. I've got seashells all over the place. I grew up in Southern California, and I love the ocean. I love whales and dolphins and stuff. And so I got the idea originally just studying sea magic, and any book you read about being a sea witch will tell you, you don't really actually need to live next to the ocean. It could be any body of water, and it doesn't even have to be that. If there's just no access to water, that's how I am. There is a lake if I go on a walk that way really far, like a reservoir thing. And I do that sometimes in the middle of summer. But it says, like I've got some pictures over there of the beach and the ocean. I watch documentaries, and I have seashells all over the place, here and there. Like I have at least one seashell in every room, So that's one thing I do, like inside my house, is I kind of keep connected to the ocean when I'm inside my house. But when I'm outside of my house, I live right next to the Rocky Mountains, so there's no ocean, but there's a cemetery where I live. And I used to live in Spain, and that's where I learned about cemeteries. And I've been going there for years. I've lived here for 25 years in this place, and been raising my son. He's about to turn 24. So yeah, it's been about 25 years. I've moved around my whole life. So I've never lived more than 5 years at one place before here. But so for just many years, I've gone to this cemetery. I love crows, and crows go to cemeteries all the time. If you study the history, it's because in history, they eat dead humans. If there's a dead human, a crow will eat it. And so they like cemeteries, and I think it's just kind of become a thing for crows. But there's a lot more crows in cemeteries. Sometimes I'll feed them and make friends with them, and it can last a long time, except that I don't keep bringing more food, so they eventually give up on me. I keep doing that. But I'll go to a walk on the cemetery, but really it's just right when I walk outside. When you walk outside, don't just look at the sidewalk and things like that, but I look up at the mountains, I look at the clouds, I look at the leaves on the trees. Look at the leaves on the trees. Is the wind blowing? What direction is it blowing? Is today a cloudy day? What direction are the clouds going? Are some of them gray? Does it look like some of them are going this way? And then look at the mountain. Did it snow on top of the mountain, or is it, like how's the mountains doing? Kind of a general look at just the humans and just kind of catch the vibe of just the city. And then as you're walking, I have different routes. I can either go to the cemetery, like I said, that's like a direct route, or I have this like shortcut, like I call it diagonally, because if I cut if I cut through the city diagonally, um, you can turn what would normally be like a 25-minute walk into like a 15-minute walk, and then it's another 10-minute walk across this bridge thing, and you can end up, there's this area where it's like there's this mountain man, um, there's this like old fort from history from back in the mountain man days, and in a river, and you can, if you know how to do it, you can go from the downtown area where I am to this place where it's like you're in the mountains, if I really need to like way be in the mountains, and there's minks, and there's so you can, if you look up in the sky, you'll see large birds of prey from time to time. There's really, you just gotta kind of be in that frame of mind, and there's raccoons if it's like dusk. There's, you can see, I always see something, I really do, even if I don't go there. There's another place, a route I can go, where I can go to a different part of the river, but it's not quite as far of a walk. And it just, like, I have, I don't know, one, two, three. I have three different places. I just said all three where I can go depending on how, and they all involve the river. They're all next to the river that goes through the valley. But it's like that in any downtown area. Like I said, I've moved around a lot. There's a park. You just have to kind of you just have to look at the city from that perspective. There's you just have to be creative. There's places you can go and quick ways to get there. I think maybe take the subway if it's that kind of a city, or you just have to, or if you have a car, I guess that would be pretty easy if you have a car. I don't have a car, so it's harder, but there's things like that. So if I do end up in the mountains to go on a hike, that's a thing too. Is keeping your eyes open and having the right attitude. Um, like when I used to live down in southern Utah, I used to every once in a while end up in places where there's ancient Native American ruins. Like I did a lot of hiking when I was really young, and I would find hot springs that the public doesn't even know about. I'd find ancient Native American ruins that the public doesn't know about, and I would find, if depending on how thorough you are, you can find, like, it's amazing. Even if you're kind of mountains next to a city, it's amazing what you can end up around. It just by having kind of like a different attitude. But like, you learn this a lot with Native Americans, but I kind of, to tell you the truth, figured it out by myself, and later realized Native Americans look at things that way too. It's just kind of a coincidence, but you look at it like there's like, kind of just like in the reality we live in, there's like the present, the past, and the future. And I think that spirits are kind of like that too. Especially there's spirits of the past or spirits of the present, and I don't know if there's spirits of the future, but there's the spirit of the future. But you kind of look at it that way, when you're hiking on the mountain, you look at it like there might still be spirits of Native Americans or whatever the indigenous people of your area is, back before there were white people or civilization in this area, and you kind of try to be respectful even on that kind of a level, or especially if you find ancient ruins, like I was saying, or especially if there's any sign of humans, to be, to be sensitive to the concept of when it's appropriate to have respect. hike on the trails. I don't always hike on trails. I hike off trails sometimes, but it's a. I studied natural resource management when I went to college. And we actually talked a lot about this. The whole hiking on trails things is because if humans are hiking all over the place, it knocks things down and it makes new places that rain can go into, and it causes erosion, and it has a different type of wear and tear on the environment. So so you look at it that way, I want to go over there. Is it selfish? You know, am I just trotting right up the side of a mountain and causing all this new erosion and all this stuff, or am I going? Kind of look at it that way. I don't know how strict you need to be about always being on the trail. It's a little bit safer, and like there's human trails, there's animal trails. And I don't want to give away animal secrets. I'm close to animals and I love animals, but I have the ability to kind of, especially because I've been doing this since I was a little kid, you kind of have to go into the high priestess mode. If you know your Kabbalah, the high priestess is what connects the self to the highest part of the Sephirah, and it's the only direct route that takes you to the top of the tree. And the high priestess, it isn't like, I just disagree with people where it's like the high priestess is the designated woman of your group. And that whole thing. I'm just like, oh wow, that's that's a that's a recent addition to the whole belief. The real definition of the high priestess, it's the little girl that still believes in the magic of the forest. That's inside of everybody, male, female, no matter where you are on the gender spectrum. You 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 go into that mode, into the high priestess mode, and have your imagination, and it'll bring their spirits. I believe in fairies. Fairies are just the spirits of the forest. If you're going to be noticing things like fairies and stuff like that in the forest, you really got to go into high priestess mode to be doing that, and you have to kind of have that responsibility thing. Another thing I do is right before I go into if I'm carrying a walking stick, or if I might just use my foot or something, I bang 3 times on the ground at the foot of the mountain right before I go into the mountain. Bang, 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 because the Empress card is Mother Nature to me, and the Empress card's Roman numeral 3, and it's the pathway that connects number 2 and number 3 across the abyss. It's Mother Nature, and so I bang 3 times for Mother Nature's thing, and it's me saying, "Hey, mountain, I'm about ready to hike on you." Bang, bang, bang. 3 times so the mountain knows I'm about ready to come onto it. And then I'll dig a little hole in the ground right there, and I'll put some tobacco in the hole and cover it up, and give it a tobacco offering. And then I'll bow my head and close my eyes, and I'll give a prayer. If I'm with someone, I'll open my eyes, and I think it'd be cool if we could hold hands, and I would just say out loud, "Hey mountain, thanks for today. Thanks for the good weather." Kind of like go through I'm thankful for that I get to have this moment to appreciate the mountain, and please, talk like you're talking to the mountain. So please be aware that I'm on the mountain. I want to be safe and have a good experience. I'll try to do my part, but also I'll try to be respectful. As a wild animal's a wild animal, and I'll try to notice the beauty and really appreciate it, and it'd be good if I could also learn some things, have some good meditations. Amen. And then like that's might have some kind of ceremony like that. And then like find a place to kind of hide off to the side where I can smoke some herb or something, if that's what I'm doing. If I'm smoking herb at that point in my life. I'm not really smoking these days, but I will again. But anyway, so like that. Wow, I had a lot more to say when I described being one with and with the spirits of the land and being more connected to the land when it's up in the mountains, you know. The more you're like in nature, the more you need to kind of think that way. The more you're in the city, the more you have to just kind of, it's about opening your eyes and noticing, you know, like it's still there. They're still, I've been friends with crows that have gone on walks with me for 3 or 4 blocks, you know. Just if a crow likes you, they'll kind of like swoop next to you and go up on a branch and watch you walk by, and then they'll just keep swooping you and keeping your attention, you know. And I say, hey, how you doing, bird? Thanks. You know, crow, I love you. Thanks for your time. You know, things like that. You know. Anyway, so that's how I connect with the land.